Welcome back, guys. I'm going to be doing a short series on reloading. I'm going to be calling it Project 6.5 by 55. Okay, so with this series we're going to be going through what I've done on my loads. I'm going to be showing you the charges I've done and the steps that I've done to go through it. Just to keep in mind, the steps and that I'm doing is the way I've done it, and it's always worked for me, and it's how I continue to do my reloading. It works out pretty well. What I'm going to be showing is the different groups from start to max loads, and I'm going to be loading each rounds according to spec, and then I'm going to play around a little bit. I'm probably going to test one or two loads just above spec and below spec to see how the rifle reacts and what kind of groupings we achieve out of it. Okay, along with the testing of the loads, I'm going to be going through the whole bunch, and then I'm going to be selecting a few groups that I've shot with the loads. I'll give you the speeds and that I've achieved and the SDs that we got with it. Then I'm going to reload a couple more rounds of the same to confirm that the information I got on the first lots of groupings that we shot, I'm going to confirm it, shoot them again for the second time, and then from there I'll select maybe one or two loads, and then I'll fine tune them and get them to shoot the tightest grouping that I can achieve on that rifle and that particular load. Here in South Africa you battle to get locally made powder, so we are having to resort to using imported powders. Right, so for the components I'm going to be using, the poor brass fire form to my chamber. I'm going to be using Federal large rifle primers. Their model or number is 210 large rifle standard. I'm going to be using Vitafuri N550 powder. I'm going to be testing a whole bunch of loads. I will pull up a sheet from their website on their reloading information. And then again, I'm going to be using Lapua 139 Skinar bullets or tips for the rifle. So that's the components we're going to be using to test our loads and see what groupings we can achieve from that. Okay, so we spent the morning at the shooting range testing out the loads that we did. I started from the minimum charge, which was 37.5 grain. Another reason why I say it's super important to shoot over a chronograph. As the website states, at 37.5 grain I should achieve about 2,400 foot per second. With my particular setup, primer, powders, bullet and cartridge, I only achieved with 37.5 grain of powder, only achieved an average of 2326 foot per second with a standard deviation of 19.5, which is quite a bit under from what the manual states, which is why it's super important to shoot it over chronograph, as if I had just gone and shot without having that, I would have had false information to work from. Important note is that when I do my load development on new powder and stuff like that, I basically start on a clean slate. I clean the rifle, clean the barrel, so that there's no copper fouling or anything like that inside the barrel. Okay, so as we worked up on our loads, I worked up in increments of half a grain of powder. So we worked up each time shooting 5 loads, waiting till the barrel cools down so it's nice and cold, shooting the next set of 5 loads, and then we worked up from there. So as the velocities worked up, my groupings started closing. As you'll see here on the second page, as we get to about 40 grain of powder, we started shooting at around 2486, so the grouping started closing. I know my rifle likes to shoot in the speeds between 2,500 foot and about 2.6. That's where it seems to be the sweet spot for my barrel is. As we continue to work up, the groupings closed. Another reason why I shoot five round groups is to minimize the chance of human error. For example, this one I pulled this shot it was my third shot that I fired. So if I'd only shot 3-round groups, it would have given me a false indication of what the rifle is capable of on that particular load. Alrighty, so I'm going to load up another 4 of these rounds, 40.5, 41, 41.5, 42 grain, of exactly the same as I've done on these loads. I'm going to head out to the range again and test those 4 sets of rounds, see if we can achieve the same speeds, same deviations, and same or similar size groupings, and then we'll come back again, sit down, review it at the table, and take it from there. So hopefully it all works out well, and we can use minimal rounds to achieve the best load for that rifle that we can get. Stay tuned.